Welcome to WildRift, a place where everyone is obsessing over dragons when Herald is just superior. My name is Kirks, and in this video we'll be showcasing some of the best champions played by high elo players. These champions have proven time and time again that they have what it takes to dominate the Rift and lead their team to victory. These champions have unique abilities and playstyles that set them apart from the rest. Sit back, relax, and get ready to witness the mastery of high elo champions in WildRift. But just before we hop into that, let's talk about our question of the day. What is your favorite item build for your main champion? Let me know in the comments below. First on our list comes Pyke as a support and mid lane champion. This champion is basically a monster around the map. Most of the time when you see him, for example, in a support role, you see him in lane rather early until he hits level 2 or level 3. When that level is reached, he might or might not rotate to anywhere you can think of, and there's not much you can do about it, and you need to ping your team as early as possible. Because with his second ability, you can go invisible and avoid all vision around him unless it's a control ward. And given the state of the game, most people don't place control wards, so he'll get there without being seen. That said, if he gets close enough, he might just use his third ability to get into your face and force your flash, and then he uses his first ability to hook you back in. Not to mention that he has very high burst damage, given he's running Electrocute. But what is making Pyke so obnoxious to deal with? Pyke is not that easy to play, let's be honest. Most of his game presence comes from hooking people and then executing them. But he is sometimes reliant, or often reliant, on his teammates early on to get something done. It's your own skill set that will decide if you're able to hit hooks or not. But once you get that done, you'll realize that this champion and the streaking nature of his, similar to a Katarina or Samira, will take over teamfights instantly. There's also quite a nice few combos you need to understand that will help you improve in general. Just for example, the most important combo, which is the most stylish one as well, is using your ultimate as a gap closer while you're using your third ability. That way you can get the most beautiful setup stunts for your team to collapse on. Naturally speaking, this is most of the time not gonna happen, but it's the most beautiful and most broken combo because there's no counterplay. You cannot dodge a Pyke who is using his stun and his ultimate combined. It's not possible, you just can't because it's too fast, because he can perfectly time everything he needs to. The next champion on this list is Mr. Thresh. This lovely soul collector has had enough with Senna, and he's back on the lane to beat you up. I've seen plenty of Thresh Baron laners, and don't get me wrong, it is playable because it's a very oppressive pick in laning. I don't suggest it. But when it comes to the dragon lane, Thresh is a monster. On level 1, most of the Thresh players randomly skill his first ability, which is absolutely pointless, because why would you do this? You can miss it and then you're basically useless. If you take your third ability though, you'll deal a ton of damage. Just your alt attack and your active part of your ability will take away like 50% of the enemy's HP bar, which is massive. But don't forget, with the bone plating being hyper meta right now, using your spells and auto attacks instantly will lose you a lot of damage, like 90 damage on a full rotation. That is quite a lot if you ask me. But as the game goes on, your champion is similar to Pyke. You roam around the map and look for picks. That is your job. Also worthy of note, you have the ability to place your lantern in a place where your AD carry or other laner is able to overextend intentionally to, for example, get a wave, or tower platings, or like literally anything, and just lantern them back. All you have to do is stay out of position, like out of range, throw the lantern there and allow them to go with you. That way, even if the enemy commits because they are thinking that your ally is inting, you'll get them out of trouble and waste the enemy team's time. That is quite the useful thing to do. Our next monster on this list is Tristana. This champion has been the bane of existence every single time, and it gets really annoying to face this champion. And if we're honest, if you see this champion, you already know the Lulu is gonna get locked in, and then winning becomes very difficult. It requires virtually no skill to pilot Tristana and Lulu because you don't need to do anything. You can just scale up, hit your item spikes, and auto attack from Narnia range, and it doesn't matter. It's really stupid. But there's one thing that many Tristana players don't really utilize at all, and it's the combo potential. On level 5 there is little to nothing you just cannot kill, and here's how. Using your third ability in combination with your second ability and ultimate will allow you to fast stack your bomb. Doing so adds a lot of burst damage. Given also the fact that around level 5 you'll at least have a BF sword, you'll deal tons of damage. And with that burst rotation and a lot of AD carries or supporters not running exhaust anymore, you will demolish everything. Because if the enemy doesn't have exhaust into you for that specific situation, you will kill them. You'll insta-kill them, and there's nothing they can do about it because you're a spellcaster, if you're truly honest. You have so much damage on burst spells that you are almost similar to Illusion in that regard, just with more damage. The next obnoxious pick we have to talk about again is Vex. Vex in High Healer is so potent because of one simple thing. It's the laning phase. The setup during the laning phase is just obscene. Having your fear available and allowing it to direct the enemy towards a certain direction which you want to walk, which you want them to walk into, allows your jungler to constantly capitalize on that one and get kills on kills on kills on kills. Not to mention, any mobility-based enemy character is constantly proccing your passive, allowing you to get your fear back faster and dealing extra damage. That in mind, your laning phase, in terms of potency and strength in the sheer 1v1 scenario, is brutal. You have so much damage, and thanks to the CC and bone plating being a thing, it gets very difficult for the enemy champions to deal with you. You just have to make sure to not make too many mistakes, and then you're good to go. The next thing that all of those broken, annoying champions have with them is their reset and streaking nature. If Vex hits you with an ultimate and goes in and blows up the one person, she can just do so again. She can tag another person with the ultimate as it's free of cooldown again, wait for a second rotation, go in, kill somebody. Then she can wait again and do the same again. And again. And then she has spent so much time that her ultimate's base cooldown is ready again. So even if she misses the next ultimate, her ultimate will be ready again because the cooldown starts ticking down the moment the first ultimate is cast. Very interesting mechanic, by the way. Surely that should be the case, and surely magical penetration should be as broken as it is. It really shouldn't. The last pick of our list today is Mr. Zed. Zed as a champion has not the strongest of laning phases, but there's a few tricks you can use that will help you greatly. If you're playing against a melee champion and you want to get close to them without messing yourself up too much because the shuriken from Venus doesn't deal too much damage, you can start with your third ability. That way you'll have a lot of bonus damage when it comes to trading because you don't lock yourself in an animation, especially if you want to auto attack. Another thing, Zed as a champion mostly starts being functional once he has access to all his core abilities. That way he can go for interesting trade if he's running, for example, Electrocute and chip you down. However, Zed's laning phase before level 5 is heavily dependent on the enemy running bone plating or you proccing his bone plating. If you go for trades or an all-in when the enemy has bone plating, you're most likely going to end up losing. As the game goes on and you go out of the laning phase, things become a little bit better. Well, they become far better. Your ultimate's cooldown gets so low that you can just throw it out on cooldown regardless on whom as the game goes on. And if you get anything in return, life is wonderful. Oh, and before I forget that one, even if you happen to die on level 3 or level 4, if the enemy commits their summoner spells, for example Flash and Exhaust, they will die on level 5. Most of the champions, if they do so, will not have enough layers of security to deal with your burst damage on level 5. Just proc the bone plating and then mess them up. It's very simple. You need to track summoner spells with your champion and then life becomes absolutely amazing. Also, please check if the enemy has stasis, because you don't want to be that kind of guy that runs away because you think, well, my death mark is gonna kill them, and then you hear the sound and you're like, not again. And that's it for today's video. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel and come back for more. See you tomorrow.